Right now, it's in the middle of this huge illegal and political battle. All thanks to this program. It's called the Keeping Families Together program.
Okay.
It's put in place by the Biden administration.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to give undocumented immigrants who are married to U.S. citizens a safer way to become legal residents.
I see.
You would think a program that's supposed to support families would be like super popular, no problem, right?
Yeah, you'd think so.
Well, not really.
No.
A federal judge just completely shut the whole thing down.
Wow.
And it's causing a lot of people to be really upset, especially since the 2024 election just happened.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So today we're going to just dive right into this whole ruling, all the legal stuff behind it, the political fallout, and what this means for immigration policy going forward.
Sounds good.
This is a really complex issue, and it's really personal for a lot of people, so let's try to break it all down. So to even understand what the judge decided, we got to understand how this Keeping Families Together program was supposed to work.
Okay.
They wanted to use something called
Parole,
which is basically a way to temporarily get around the current law.
Okay.
Because right now, undocumented spouses a lot of times have to leave the U.S. and risk being away from their family for years sometimes before they can even apply for a green card.
Wow.
Parole was supposed to keep families together during that whole process.
Makes sense.
So what's really interesting here is this whole thing about immigration law.
Yeah.
Judge Barker, the federal judge who struck this program down, he focused on whether or not the Biden administration even had the power.
The authority.
Yeah, the authority to use parole this way. It's all about how you interpret the law.
Oh, okay.
And, lawyers can argue both sides.
Of course, yeah.
And to add even more drama to it.
Uh-oh. What else?
This judge was appointed by former President Trump.
Oh, wow.
So people are definitely reading into that.
Yeah.
Especially since the White House is saying this ruling could tear families apart. They're not happy about it at all.
Okay.
So if we zoom out for a second and look at the current system for undocumented spouses trying to get green cards.
Yeah.
It's
kind of a mess.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah.
They risk getting stuck outside the U.S. for years.
Oh, wow.
If they leave to apply to re-enter legally.
I see.
Which is why this Keeping Families Together program and using parole was such a big deal.
Yeah.
It gave families some hope.
Right.
When they were facing this impossible choice. There was a detail in the research we got that really jumped out at me.
Yeah, what is it?
It was actually Texas and a whole bunch of other Republican-led states that filed this lawsuit in the first place.
Interesting.
So it's like this whole political thing, right?
Yeah, it definitely seems like it.
Yeah.
So this ruling really lines up with what people are predicting for the 2024 election, that Trump's going to win. And his plan is to basically reverse a lot of the stuff Biden did with immigration.
So it's like we're seeing the start of a bigger battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It's like drawing the lines in the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where does all this leave us?
Yeah, where does this leave us?
I mean, the future of keeping families together is kind of up in the air.
Right.
Will the Justice Department appeal the ruling?
Good question.
What will the new administration do with this whole mess?
Right.
It feels like we're about to see some major changes.
Yeah, big changes.
In how America handles immigration.
I really feel like it.
Now, this is more than just some legal debate, right?
Oh, yeah.
This ruling makes us think about
what are our values as a society.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how do we balance wanting to have secure borders with keeping families together?
Right. How do we do both?
What rights should undocumented immigrants have?
Yeah.
I mean, what does this whole thing say about America?
About who we are as a country.
Yeah. Are we a nation of immigrants?
Right.
I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing to think about all those families.
Oh, absolutely.
That are stuck in this legal limbo. These are real people.
Real people with real lives.
Yeah, with jobs and kids in school.
Exactly.
Their whole lives are on hold.
It's a lot of uncertainty.
And this ruling could rip apart families.
It's true.
Who have built lives here.
Yeah. They've put down roots.
They contribute to their communities.
Yeah.
They just want to live without being afraid all the time.
It's a basic human need.
Yeah.
To feel safe and secure.
This is where this whole thing gets really sad, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's easy to get lost in the legal arguments and all the political stuff.
It's definitely complicated.
But at the end of the day, this is about families.
Real family.
Who are stuck in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, caught in the crossfire.
We could be talking about parents being separated from their children.
It's a real possibility.
Husbands and wives facing years of not knowing what's going to happen.
And the kids.
Yeah.
The kids are the ones who suffer the most in these situations.
It's a huge human cost.
It really is.
You know, this isn't the first time this parole thing has caused controversy with immigration.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back in the 1950s.
Okay.
There was a big wave of refugees after the Hungarian Revolution.
Right.
And the Eisenhower administration actually used parole.
Interesting.
To let a bunch of Hungarians into the U.S.
Wow.
Even though they didn't meet the normal requirements for immigration.
So parole has been used before.
Yeah, it shows how this legal tool has been used throughout history, sometimes to help people during crises.
Right, during emergencies.
Exactly.
So this ruling today isn't happening out of nowhere.
Right, it's all connecting.
It's part of this bigger conversation about how much power the president really has.
When it comes to immigration.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the judge was questioning whether the Biden administration went too far with this program.
It's a valid question.
It really makes you think.
It does.
Like, if we can't use parole, then what options are left?
What can these families do?
Are there any legal ways for them to stay together?
Right.
While they try to get legal status?
Yeah. Are there any other paths for them?
That's the big question.
It's the million-dollar question.
And it's a tough one.
There are no easy answers.
Some immigration advocates want to see big changes.
Like comprehensive reform.
Yeah, to make it easier for undocumented immigrants to become citizens.
Right, including people married to U.S. citizens.
But with the political climate being what it is right now, that doesn't seem very likely.
It's a long shot.
It feels like we're stuck.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place.
On the one hand, you have people who want to enforce immigration laws really strictly.
Yeah, no matter what.
And then you have people who are focused on compassion.
Right, and keeping families together.
Finding a compromise seems almost impossible.
It's a tough situation.
Maybe instead of trying to fix the whole immigration system, we can focus on smaller solutions.
Okay, yeah.
Things that would specifically address keeping families together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe we could find some common ground.
Find some things that both sides can agree on.
For policies that are more humane.
And practical.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be a good start.
You know, one thing that people don't always talk about?
What's that?
Is the economic impact of all this.
Oh, right.
Undocumented immigrants, including the ones married to U.S. citizens, they contribute a lot to our economy.
They really do.
They work in important jobs, they pay taxes, they even start businesses.
It's true.
So breaking up families not only hurts people emotionally, but it also hurts our autonomy.
It's a lose-lose situation.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
It all goes back to...
What were we saying?
How we define who we are as a country.
Right. Our national identity.
Are we a country that values families?
Yeah.
And recognizes what immigrants bring to the table? Or are we a country that's all about strict rules?
Yeah.
Even if it means tearing families apart.
And hurting our own economy.
Yeah.
It's a tough question to ask ourselves.
It really is.
It's like we're being forced to confront our own values.
Yeah. This reality check.
It makes you think, are we living up to our own ideals?
The hard pill to swallow.
It is.
And all those kids.
Yeah, the children.
Caught in the middle of all of this.
It's heartbreaking.
Growing up in a country.
Where they don't even know if they're welcome.
Yeah, where people are arguing about whether they should even be here.
And their families are living in fear.
Can you imagine what that must feel like?
To be a child and have your whole life be so uncertain.
It's hard to even imagine the emotional toll it takes.
It's got to be immense.
It goes against everything we say we believe in. As a nation that values family and opportunity.
Exactly.
This whole debate about keeping families together, it really makes us look in the mirror and ask some tough questions.
About who we are.
And what we want to be.
It's a wake-up call.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface here.
Yeah, there's so much to this issue.
So many different sides to it.
And the human element makes it even more complicated.
It really does.
It's not just about laws and politics.
Yeah, it's about people's lives.
Exactly.
And I keep thinking about those kids.
Yeah, the children.
Their lives are being shaped by decisions
that they have no control over.
Made in courtrooms and by politicians.
It's a lot of pressure for anyone to carry.
Especially for children.
They're the most vulnerable in these situations.
It makes you realize that all these legal battles and policy debates,
they're not just abstract ideas.
Yeah.
They have real consequences.
Real consequences for real people.
Especially for the people who are already struggling.
And in this case, it's often the kids.
The children are the ones who pay the price.
Thinking about the kids made me wonder,
Yeah.
like, how does all this affect their education and their health care?
Access to those things is so important.
Do they have the same rights as other kids?
Kids who are U.S. citizens.
It's a good question.
And unfortunately, there's not a simple answer.
Oh.
The laws are really complex.
I can imagine.
And it really depends on where these families live.
Oh. Yeah.
Some states are more welcoming. Some have more resources available.
And some states are stricter?
It's kind of patchwork.
Wow, so it's different all over the country.
Yeah, it can be really confusing.
Especially for families that are already dealing with so much.
Exactly. It adds another layer of stress.
They're trying to figure out federal immigration law.
Right.
And then they have to deal with state and local rules, too.
It's like a maze.
No wonder they feel like they can't relax.
Like they're walking on eggshells all the time.
And this whole conversation about legal pathways and access to services, it shows how much power is involved here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Undocumented immigrants.
Even those married to U.S. citizens.
They're in a tough spot.
It's a vulnerable position to be in.
They might not feel safe speaking up.
About their needs.
Or asking for what they deserve.
Because they're afraid of getting in trouble.
Or messing up their chances of becoming legal.
It's catch-22.
Yeah. They're stuck.
They don't have a voice.
And that makes it even harder to change things.
To fight for policies that protect them.
It's like a vicious cycle.
It is. It's a system that keeps them silent.
And invisible.
We need to break that cycle.
How do we do that?
It takes a lot of different things.
Okay.
We need legal advocates, people organizing in their communities, and we need to change how we talk about immigration.
What do you mean?
We need to stop with the fear and the stereotypes.
Yeah, those are so harmful.
And start seeing immigrants as...
Recognize their humanity.
Their resilience.
And all the things they contribute.
Exactly.
We need to humanize this issue.
I love that. Humanize it.
Instead of focusing on numbers and laws,
yeah,
we should be sharing people's stories.
Their personal experiences.
Let's hear from the families who are actually going through this.
Let's understand their struggles.
And celebrate their wins.
Those human connections.
Yeah.
Those are what change people's hearts and minds.
And there are people out there.
Doing amazing work.
Really?
All over the country.
Wow.
Organizations and individuals working so hard to support these families.
What are they doing?
They're providing legal help.
Okay.
Educational resources. Helping them get health care.
Wow.
And just creating a sense of community.
So they don't feel so alone.
Exactly.
It's amazing that there are people like that.
They're the real heroes.
It gives me hope.
Me too.
That even with all these challenges, there are people fighting for a better system.
A more compassionate system.
A system that's actually fair.
That's what we need.
It's inspiring.
It is.
And it makes me think.
About what?
That we can all do something.
We can all be part of the solution.
Even if it's something small.
Every little bit helps.
Like what?
We can educate ourselves.
About immigration.
Yeah, learn about the issues.
Okay.
We can challenge those harmful stereotypes.
When we hear them.
Yeah, speak up.
And we can support those organizations.
The ones doing the work on the ground.
They're helping immigrant families.
Exactly.
We can use our voices to make a difference.
Our voices and our actions.
So this deep dive hasn't just been about...
learning about keeping families together.
Right. It's been about so much more.
It's been a call to action.
To actually do something.
We all have a responsibility here.
To engage with this issue.
To listen to the people affected.
And to work towards a better future.
For all families.
No matter their immigration status.
Here's something to think about.
Okay.
How can you use your skills
and talent
and resources
to help?
Maybe you can volunteer.
Okay.
Or donate to an organization. Or just have honest conversations with people.
About immigration.
Yeah. Get people talking.
Even small actions can make a difference.
Every little bit counts.
This has been a really eye-opening deep dive.
It has.
And I hope it's inspired you.
To learn more?
To think critically?
To get involved?
The fight for family unity.
And a just immigration system.
It's not over.
It's far from over.
We all have a role to play.
We can't stay silent.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure for